From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Daniels Roofing, licensed, bonded, insured roofing contractor. 45 years of generational expertise, offering a variety of roofing systems in the North State. Composition shingles, metal, tile, fire-safe wood shingles, and spray foam roofing systems. An energy-saving cool roof, perfect for commercial flat roofs and mobile homes. With other companies, you may get a foreman or a salesman, but with Daniels Roofing, you get Daniel. Call today for your free estimate. Daniels Roofing, 3 generations working hard to protect your home and business.
Well, happy Friday to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Kruger. Welcome to Weather NorCal, your morning update here. Want to remind you that you can share your photos from the free Weather NorCal app. I want to see all of your photos, whether it's a sunrise, sunset, your pets, ways you're staying cool, fire photos as well. Now you can go to the Weather NorCal app and of course just kind of scroll to the very bottom, and then of course you tap share your photos. It will direct you from there on how to do that. Now, all you have to do to share it from your free Weather NorCal app, if you don't have it, is go to your App Store, go to your Google Play Store, and search for Weather NorCal. Look for this icon and download the app for free. And not only can you share your photos, but we've got these thunderstorms in the forecast. You can track these thunderstorms, where the rain is, where the lightning strikes are, the works. Check it out. All right, here's what I was talking about. Yeah, we got the thunderstorm chances as early as today into Saturday, and I'm going to really break down the timing of that here a little bit later. Dry lightning and gusty outflow winds are going to be a concern with these thunderstorms. Again, more details on a little bit later. That monsoon moisture begins to move out by Sunday. There may be some lingering moisture on Sunday for a few straight thunderstorms, but for the most part, I think Sunday is not going to be as active as Saturday will be. And then the heat, it's returned, and it's sticking around for a while. You may have already noticed that. Temperatures for today, yes, they're getting hot. Now notice in there, I've got the PM showers for the valley. Here's the thing. The main disturbance itself will be here later this evening into tonight, and that will really help to squeeze out some of that moisture, give us some showers, maybe some thunderstorms. But really, overall, I think it's going to be mainly tonight and tomorrow morning is going to be the main event. Again, we'll get into that timing here just a little bit later. Here's what it looks like today. Temperature is about 100 degrees or higher for most of us in the valley, 90s for most of the higher elevations, and you've got those temperatures in the 60s out along the coast for today. Let's take a look at your 7-day outlook, and this is going to show you, of course, temperatures staying 100 degrees or higher, especially for Redding. I think places like Red Bluff, Chico, you could be hovering around that 99, 100 degree mark at times, but for the most part, I think we're going to be 100 degrees or higher for the next 7-10 days for the valley. Now, for the coast, mid-60s, no big surprises there. Inland areas, I think any chances for rain are mainly going to be late tonight, early tomorrow morning. That's mostly the case for Trinity County as well, probably sometime tonight into tomorrow. And then, of course, temperature is still pretty hot, even going after that as well. All right, here's a look at your 7-day outlook for Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and in places like Susanville, Eastern Mountains. Now, we could see some activity in some of the Eastern Mountains later this afternoon. But again, I think it's going to be a tonight and tomorrow. So tomorrow's really going to be that main event here for many areas here. As I mentioned, maybe some lingering activity on Sunday, but for the most part, I think it's going to be mainly on Saturday. And then, of course, again, those temperatures mid to even some upper 90s here in that long range. All right, that was your quick forecast, getting you out the door. Have a great day. If you want to stick around, we're going to have more details on the fires. And, of course, the chances for thunderstorms I was talking about. Let's start with the Park Fire. Here are the hot spots. No big surprises. We saw it flare up again through the afternoon as those winds picked up. Typical spots that we've seen here on the east side of the fire. Here's what it looks like this morning. It's been having a difficult time completely relaxing. We are still seeing a bit of a hot spot late last night and, of course, early this morning as well. So we'll probably begin to see it flare up again as we go into late morning and even afternoon. Here's the latest look. Now, keep in mind, as you're watching this, shortly after I record this, we start to see some new data coming in. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at these numbers here. But there you can see, of course, looking at the distances here, anywhere from, 7 miles from Shingletown and about 19 miles from Palisadro and about 3 miles to Manson here. So these numbers haven't changed really over the last few days. We take a look at the Smith Fire and the Mill Fire. no big changes here. Still at about 98% containment there. And then, of course, we take you out to the Hillfire. We've been looking at some pretty decent containment out there. Now we're up to about 84%. Again, that may have changed later this morning here. The Shelley Fire at about 92% containment. So again, we're kind of reaching that stage where the fires are out there. We're just not seeing a lot of change with a lot of these fires. Now the smoke is still going to be a bit of a concern here. Looks like this morning we're seeing some pretty poor air quality in Mount Shasta, parts of the valley seeing some poor air quality, but conditions have improved at least at points for the Chester area, but even some poor air quality this morning out towards the Alturas area. So that smoke continues to be a factor. Now, as we see the chances for thunderstorms increase, I think we're going to see this change a lot. But this is going to give you a basic idea of what the smoke is doing. Here's the noon hour today. There's the bigger plume of smoke just to the west of Chester, and then we see some of that smoke work its way northward. But nothing major, right? And you can see just some minor haze for the valley and even a little bit to the west of that as well. We take you into this afternoon. Again, you can kind of see some of the smoke getting closer to the Chester area, a bit of haze just to the north of that. You know, when you look at these colors right here, that's just some very light and minor haze, most likely not even smelling the smoke. 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, there's that smoke plume near the fire, kind of pushes itself off to the east. We take you into Saturday around noon. Once again, it just kind of stays within the vicinity of the fire. And then we can see that it'll kind of push a little bit more to the east as we take you into Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening as well. But again, the rain, the thunderstorms that we see, that's going to have an impact on that smoke as well. All right, so let's take a look at the fire weather alerts. There's a fire weather watch for western Siskiyou County, really most of Siskiyou County and Modoc County. The reason being is the potential for dry lightning and gusty outflow winds. But one of the things I want to point out is it's not just this area. This will probably be upgraded to a red flag warning soon, but we're going to be looking at the chances for thunderstorms for pretty much all of the mountain locations. We'll get into that a little bit later. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Future cast here in a second. But we're still talking about the fire and fire danger here with those winds. Now, noon today, all right, we're not too terribly concerned. As we go into the afternoon, though, watch the winds begin to pick up. Now, we're beginning to see these winds pick up off to the east. Now, that's because the disturbance that's associated with the monsoon moisture is beginning to work its way here. That disturbance is also going to help to pick up those winds. So as we go through the afternoon, I think we're going to see some bigger flare-ups from the park fire, but also some gusty winds even for parts of the valley. You'll probably notice that later this afternoon. All right, so we take you into tonight. The winds are starting to calm down a little bit here, but a little bit more breezy than we'd like it to be. That's because the disturbance is pretty much moving through tonight and early tomorrow morning. So the winds, yes, they will subside a little bit, but still stay on the breezy, even gusty at times, even overnight. This is the biggest concern. It's going to be this evening, tonight, and into tomorrow morning. But then as we go through Saturday afternoon, look at the winds picking back up again. We've got more thunderstorms possibly picking up for Saturday afternoon, and that could create some more gusty outflow winds. The humidity, now one of the good things with the monsoon moisture coming in is our humidity levels are going up, but not until later this evening and into tomorrow. So let's take a look at Saturday morning. We actually don't have the best recovery in the world. It's actually still fairly dry out there, but it is getting better. And you can see the daytime, we're looking at those humidity levels closer to the teens and even upper teens in some cases. So that will certainly improve things, but again, there are other factors that we have to take into account. All right, so let's take a look at the fire weather risk for the next couple of days. Again, really, I want you to remember when we're looking at this particular graphic, this is only taking into account the temperatures, the winds, and the humidity. It's not taking other factors into account. So here's what we're looking at. With the heat and the winds, we've got some very high fire danger. That's the red that's going in there, right? But also that's the case for central Siskiyou County and some pretty high fire danger off to the east as well. Now, we take you into your Saturday, we're still seeing that pretty high fire danger here with those southerly flow of winds. Notice, though, that we're not looking as high of fire danger off to the north and to the east. But again, this is not a good representation of everything that's happening, because we've got to watch for that potential for lightning strikes. Now, most of the lightning strikes that we would most likely see this afternoon will be in this area right here. And quite honestly, I think this is a pretty good representation because it's going to be coming in from the southeast, working its way northwest. Then as we go into Saturday, it becomes a little bit more widespread. Better chances for those afternoon thunderstorms, lightning strikes. But keep in mind, too, overnight tonight and early tomorrow morning, there could be some lightning strikes as well. We're going to get into that on Futurecast here in just a second. All right, there you can see all that monsoon moisture down to our south. We're already seeing the rain and thunderstorms that are associated, with the monsoon moisture. This is working its way up. It will arrive later today. All right, so you've got that flow coming around the area of high pressure, and it's helping to transport that monsoon moisture northward. So looking at the Storm Prediction Center's outlook for today, this area right here is the best potential for thunderstorms. But I will say, I think most of it's going to be to the south, and then eventually later tonight into tomorrow, then we start getting more into the Modoc County area, and it starts to kind of spread westward as well. And notice it is even getting into portions of the valley as well. But again, when we look at this, we have to remember there's a timing that we have to look at as well. So let's get into that. Here we are looking at Futurecast now. A couple of things that I've included on here, of course, is the fire perimeter. I want you to kind of take that into account when we're looking at where the rain is, where the potential for outflow boundaries are. The outflow is those gusty winds, okay? And I've also included the winds in here as well. So you'll notice by noon, we're beginning to see clouds move in, but no rain just yet. But the humidity levels should start to increase down here, especially to the south. These are just a lot of mid and high level clouds that are beginning to move in. No rain as of yet. Now also keep in mind, it has been very dry out there. So by the time the rain does arrive, we've got to saturate the air first before we can start really thinking about any of this reaching the ground. Think of it this way. You know when you have a dry sponge and then you put put water in it from the sink, eventually what happens is that sponge is going to just kind of soak up the water first. And then eventually that sponge is so saturated with water that it starts to overflow. That's what's happening right now. We are a very dry sponge right now, and then this is going to kind of move in and help to saturate that sponge before we actually start seeing that in the form of rain. All right, so we're going to kind of squeeze that out eventually and get some of that moisture. But at 5 p.m., you can kind of see a few showers picking up here. Most likely it'll evaporate before reaching the ground. Now, could there be a light sprinkle here and there? Not out of the question. But at 5 p.m., we're still just not seeing a lot of activity at this point, as most of it's up to just in the form of those clouds. Okay, let's take you later on tonight. Here's 10 o'clock tonight. Once again, we're seeing some of that rain. Now, it's beginning to get a little bit heavier. So by the time we get into the evening and overnight hours, we may begin to see some of the showers. Pretty light, nothing heavy for the valley. There's some heavier rainfall, though, down to the south. Now, at this point, I'm still not terribly concerned about the winds. The winds may begin to pick up coming in from the southeast, moving their way northwestward. But at this point, we're just not seeing a ton of rain. But this may help with the firefighting efforts with higher humidity levels, at least. But if the winds begin to pick up, that's going to be a bit of a problem, too. All right, so now we take you into late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Remember I was talking about a disturbance. It's essentially a weak area of low pressure, but it's a disturbance nonetheless. This can help to destabilize the atmosphere. And part of that destabilization is not only the thunderstorms popping up, but also gusty winds. So if this were to materialize, well, I tell you what, this is not good. Yes, we may have some rain and heavy rainfall coming into parts of the northeast part of the fire, but also those winds are blowing. And this does not mean this is the exact location of where that rain will be. If this is a little bit more to the northeast, then it's just the winds that we've got. If we can get that rain over us, at least if it's going to be windy, let's let it rain heavily, okay? But another thing we got to watch for, this could potentially bring us lightning strikes. Yes, even late tonight, early tomorrow morning, there could be some lightning strikes. Now, another thing to keep in mind is, well, Mike, what are you talking about? If it's raining heavily, lightning strikes aren't a concern because it's raining, and that would put out a fire if it started. Well, one thing you have to remember is you can have lightning strikes well outside of where the heavy rain is. You could have a lightning strike over here or over here, right? And that's outside of where that rain is. So that's why dry lightning is always a concern when we have thunderstorms this time of the year. All right, let's take you into early tomorrow morning. We're beginning to see that main disturbance just to the north and west of the fire now. So we're seeing it kind of the northwest part. So the coast could see some rain out of this late tonight, early tomorrow morning. And not to mention off towards the north into Siskiyou County as well. All right, so now we take you into the noon hour on Saturday. We're beginning to see kind of a bit of a shift in the pattern. The main disturbance for this at this point is kind of moved on out of here, but we still have a lot of that monsoon moisture in place. So the humidity levels are going up. So what's going to start to happen is as we go through the afternoon, we're beginning to see more thunderstorms popping up. Now, I think the strongest will be in Modoc County. This is where we have the potential for heavy rainfall, maybe even some flash flooding, believe it or not. But dry lightning strikes could be a concern. But see how we're starting to see these pop-ups here. So as we go into 5 p.m., this is where most of the rain is. Now, one of the things I also want to point out is that, yes, we can see these thunderstorms popping up in some of these areas and even close to the fire, which could create some of those outflow boundaries. But what we're seeing here is that this kind of progression is moving to the north and east, which means the monsoon moisture is moving out with these thunderstorms as we go into Saturday night and into Sunday. Now, as I mentioned, I think there may be some leftover monsoon moisture on Sunday, and we could see some afternoon stray thunderstorms possibly on Sunday, but I'm going to wait till I see more of the latest forecast model data before I actually set that in stone. So stay tuned for that throughout the day today. I'll have a better look at that for you. All right, here you can see the heat advisory still for central western Siskiyou County. Those highs are going to be pretty hot, so we got to be on the lookout for that. This is the heat. This is the dome of high pressure. The thing that I'm going to mention about this high pressure is, yes, the heat has returned and it's back in place, but this high pressure system, it's just going to sit here. It's really not going to move a whole lot. Yes, it'll weaken, it'll strengthen at times, and we're going to see our temperatures kind of doing a little bit up and down a little bit here. But as we take it through next week, you see towards the end of next week, it does weaken a bit, so that's going to allow our temperatures to drop, but that high pressure is still there, and that's going to keep our temperatures most likely, or at least around normal for this time of the year. In fact, take a look at the 10-day trend, and I just kind of show you in Reading in general. See, I was talking about kind of going up and down, so it gets hotter that some days than others. But then toward the end of next week, into that weekend, we're closer to normal, maybe even dropping below normal in many cases. Here are your wave heights for today. Not a concern, but notice we're finally starting to see those wave heights start to increase a little bit here, especially as you start heading out. So there's a look at your marine forecast. North winds at 5 to 10 knots. Waves from the north at 2 feet at 5 seconds, and from the northwest at 3 feet at about 8 seconds. And we've got that patchy morning fog. We may see some of that clearing out. Here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Temperature of about 100 degrees or higher in many cases, but cooler out towards Mad River at 84. So we talk about thunderstorm. We saw the timing in there. I don't think we're going to see anything today for Weaverville, but later tonight, tomorrow, yeah, I think you could. And Sunday, still up in the air. We'll have to kind of wait and see on that. There you can see the North Coast forecast. We'll be looking at, of course, those mostly cloudy skies. Some of that rain for parts of the coast tonight, early tomorrow morning. Just remember, you may wake up tomorrow morning along the coast here with some rain. Okay, so just don't forget about that. There you can see maybe some storms in the morning hours, late night tonight, early morning for the inland areas. And then I think most it'll be to the east of you by the time you get into Saturday afternoon. There's Mount Shasta. Late tonight, early tomorrow morning, you're seeing the chance for some of that. And then, of course, on Saturday and Sunday, still up in the air. That's also the case for Modoc County. Temperatures today are going to be in the upper 90s. We take it southward. I think we'll see most of the thunderstorms for the eastern mountains tomorrow. We may see some of that as early as this afternoon, but I think better chances going into tomorrow. Temperatures mid to upper 90s. All right, here's your valley neighborhood forecast. What I've got in here are showers coming in as early as late this afternoon. We could see some sprinkles, but in the evening, overnight hours, that's the best chance to at least see any kind of measurable rainfall. And then over the weekend, it should be dry. All right, we take a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor to the north. 105 for Reading, 106 for Palisadro, and 102 in Red Bluff. All right, let's take a look at your 7-day outlook for Reading. Now, again, we're kind of straying away now from just talking about the rain. Let's just talk about that heat for a second. And there you can see it's not moving a whole lot. We're basically, at least for Reading, between 102 and 106 degrees.
When it's more than just your lawn, it deserves the Kubota Z400. When you need a head-turning offer on class-leading speed, agility, durability, simple deck height adjustments, and a professional grade cut, then you need the Kubota Z400 mower. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 48 months or save $300.
Tractors, trailers, rentals.
You do it all, we do it local.